Alright, this is the lesson over special right triangles, where you have the 45, 45, 90 and the 30, 60, 90. If it sounds, or if I don't sound very loud or whatever, see if you can turn it up in your headphones. I'm trying to keep it down for my family. I'm recording this at, it's just a little after midnight right now. So, well, as you can tell in the screen. So if I don't sound as peppy and upbeat and things like that, I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to get this going and uploaded for you guys as quick as I can, so you guys can go on about, finish up but yet still not lose a day. Every once in a while, you might hear a cat meowing in the background. That would be my tuxedo cat Charlie. He sucks at life. All right, so we have the 45, 45, 90 triangle. It has its own special properties and rules and things like that. This is a rule that you have to it, okay? So basically whatever it is, you have one side being x, the other side being x, and then the hypotenuse, the one that's directly across from the right angle, is always whatever the legs are times radical 2, okay? So no matter what you do, if you have one of the legs, well, you know it's going to be the same as the other leg, and then whatever those legs are, you take that and you multiply it times radical 2, and you end up getting the hypotenuse. If you notice too, these are 45-degree angles on both of them. Well, they're both the same, therefore you're going to have an isosceles triangle. Hence why both legs are going to be the same. So in the first example 1 here, we have 45, 45, 90. One of the legs is 4 radical 3. That makes the other leg the exact same. So that 2 is going to be 4 radical 3. Remember, like we said above or over here, we say what the hypotenuse is always going to be the legs times radical 2. So we have 4 radical 3 times radical 2. And if you remember what we talked about yesterday, is when you multiply radicals, you do the outside times the outside, inside times inside. So basically the outside of the first one is 4, the outside of the second one we don't have 1, so it's like a 1. So that's going to be 4. So then we have radical 3 times radical 2, that's going to be radical 6. And then you ask yourself now, can you break down radical 6 or square root of 6? This situation, no, you cannot break that down. So your final answer for this one's going to be 4 radical 6. That's going to be your y. And if I'm going too fast through this, you can always pause, you can always rewind, and while you jot your notes and things like that. Okay? One of the beautiful things about this. So, in the second example, we have the hypotenuse. Okay? Now, earlier, to get to the hypotenuse, we multiplied by radical 2. Now that we have the hypotenuse, we'll do the opposite of multiplying by radical 2 to get to the legs. Well, the opposite of multiplying by radical 2 is to divide. So to get the legs, we take 2 radical 2 divided by radical 2. These cancel out. The only thing you have left is the 2. So whatever you have here is going to be the same as what's going to be over here with the leg. So both legs are going to be 2. Up here, I'm going to go ahead and just write, kind of write how to find things. The hypotenuse is equal to your leg times radical 2. Okay, your leg is equal to hypotenuse divided by radical 2. Keep those formulas in your mind, or continue, or as you repeat doing this, you're going to you're going to remember it more. But try to memorize this if you can, because you'll be using this over and over and over and over again when you work these problems. In the third example, we have to find x and y, both x and y, they are legs in this situation, okay? But we have the hypotenuse, okay? Remember what we talked about to find the leg, it is hypotenuse divided by radical 2. So the hypotenuse is 9, so now we have 9 over radical 2. If we go back to Algebra 1, you realize that, or if you remember in Algebra 1, we don't like having a denominator with a radical in it. So to get rid of it, we multiply it times itself. So then what we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. Got to be equal. Okay? So we do multiply straight across. 9 times radical 2 is 9 radical 2. Radical 2 times radical 2 is radical 4. So then we have 9 radical 2 over the square root of 4 is 2. Then the last step that you want to do is we want to look at your numerators and denominators. Okay. Will something go into this 9 and this 2 to simplify this fraction? In this situation, no, we cannot. Therefore, our final answer is just going to be 9 radical 2 over 2. Okay, and of course it being a 45, 45, 90, you're going to do that on both sides. So both answers are going to be 9 radical 2 over 2. The 30, 60, 90 may be a little bit tougher to do. Okay, you have your short leg, you have long leg, and you also have your hypotenuse. Okay, so basically, if we can get the short leg, then we're going to work our way to get to the hypotenuse or the long leg. Okay, so basically, in a way, if we have, for example, if we have the short leg, then we multiply the short leg times 2 to get to the hypotenuse. Okay, so hypotenuse is equal to short leg, or SL, times 2. Okay, now if we want to find the long leg, that equals the short leg times radical 3. Okay, so now from there we can try to figure out how to find the short leg. Okay, so now for the short leg, to find the short leg, which we'll say SL, is equal to the hypotenuse divided by 2, or the short leg is equal to the long leg divided by radical 3. So we're not really for sure which one we're going to have to do. It just depends on the information that you are given. Okay, once you have the information you're given, you'll plug it into one of these 4 formulas. Okay, but another way you can possibly think about it is we divide down to the short leg. but we multiply. But if we have the short leg, we multiply our way out. Okay. So in this first example, we have a 30, 60, 90 here. We see that this is our 30, so this is going to be the shortest angle. That makes this the shortest leg. Okay, you got to make sure you identify which part is the shortest leg, so we can tell, or the shortest angle, so we can find what the shortest leg is going to be. Okay, now we have the short leg. We can find our hypotenuse based off our formula above. So we can do short leg is equal to the hypotenuse. Sorry about that. To find the hypotenuse, it's going to be short leg times 2. So in this situation, the short leg is 2 radical 3 times 2. So then when we multiply those, you end up with 4 radical 3. So that's going to be your hypotenuse. To find your long leg, that equals short leg times radical 3. We end up with, well, we have 2 radical 3 times radical 3. When you multiply those, you end up with 2 radical 9, which is, radical 9 is 3, so you end up with 2 times 3, which is 6. So y is going to equal 6. Sorry again, if I'm doing this fast, but I'm doing it with a software that only allows so much time before it cuts out on its own. So if I go too fast, just always pause it and do what you need to do to fast forward, rewind, or things like that. In this problem, you notice that this is the 60, that makes this the 30. So this is going to be the shortest angle. Opposite side is going to be your shortest leg. So this is going to be the short leg, this is going to be the hypotenuse, and this side is going to be the long leg. Okay, so remember, to find the short leg, we need to have the long leg divided by radical 3. So in this situation, we have 5 radical 2 divided by radical 3. To get rid of a denominator of a radical, we multiply it by itself. What we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So we end up with 5 radical 6 over 3. We look to see if we can simplify this. We cannot. We cannot simplify the 5 or the 3. So our short leg is going to be 5 radical 6 over 3. To find the hypotenuse, remember it is the short leg times 2. So we end up with 5 radical 6 over 3 times 2. And when we multiply that, we end up with 10 radical 6 over 3. And then we look to see, can we simplify the 10 or the 3? No, we cannot in this problem. Therefore, your answer is just going to be the 10 radical 6 over 3. In this last problem, we are given, this is the shortest angle, that makes this the short leg, that makes this the hypotenuse. So to find the short leg from the hypotenuse, we just take this to find short leg, it equals hypotenuse divided by 2. So in this particular situation, that's going to be 3 divided by 2. So that's just going to be 3 over 2. Okay, so from here, we want to find the long leg. The long leg is equal to the short leg times radical 3. So the short leg in this situation is 3 over 2. So we take that and multiply times radical 3. And when we do that, we end up with 3 radical 3 over 2. So our long leg is going to be 3 radical 3 over 2. So notice everything goes through the short leg. To find everything in the 30, 60, 90, everything must go basically through the short leg. Once you can get the short leg, you can get the other sides. I would say no problem, but it's going to take some time and some tries to start doing this well.